Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday, the 11th of December, for our Game Week 15 review. Harry has once again handed over the reins to me because he has decided to be ill in bed tonight. So obviously, all our best wishes out to him for that. If not, he would have made a lovely appearance for us, but you'll have to put up with him probably on Monday. So obviously, let's get straight into it. So we are very fortunate to have I would say a podcasting couple, but he hasn't even been invited onto his other half's podcast yet. So, Harry, how you doing, mate?
Hello. I'm doing all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, man. And Soph, welcome back. Thanks for putting up with me for another hour and a half or so. Again, this time, how you doing?
Oh, thank you so much for having me on again. Yeah, it'd be a good one tonight. I can't wait.
Lovely stuff. And Damon, I believe it's first time on with me. I don't know whether you've been on with Harry before, mate, but welcome on
Be
board. Obviously,
gentle.
you
Be
guys are.
gentle.
I will be gentle, but you guys are flying high at the top of the league at the moment, so you can take a bit of a pasting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm calm. I'm calm. I could take whatever you got to bring me. I'm calm because at the end of the day, we're top of both leagues that way, so it's all good at the moment. So I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, thank you, mate. I'm rubbing salt in the wound for us, so that's wonderful. And Henry, you got to put up with me for a second week in a row, mate. You ain't got to put up with Jay this week, though, with me. So it's
Yeah, that's the
only
relief.
one of the
That's the
dynamic duo.
yeah, it's that.
How you doing,
Definitely
man?
the relief. Yeah, I'm good. Palace are doing better. My tickets just turned up for Brighton away on Sunday, so I've got mixed feelings about that. But I'm gonna have to excuse me because I'm a bit sniffy today. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. So yeah, let's talk about the weekend's football, man.
That's all right, mate. Everyone's got a bit of it. I think we're all feeling it. It's definitely winter season. I know half of my staff are at work, and that's been fun in the slightest. So let's jump straight into game week 15. Pretty much a nice, easy one. We'll just cover it over because we did have Storm Dara at the weekend. I am loving it because everyone's garden fence has come down, so it's kept me busy for at least the last 3 days on doing that. But so we'll go to the Merseyside derby, which will be rescheduled in due course. It was put down to weather difficulties. I mean, Damon, there's no better person to ask on this, mate. Was it bad up in Liverpool, or was it a little bit of the Evertonians getting a bit scared?
Well, I'm currently in Yorkshire, so I don't really get. I think we've got the back wind of it though. So it was bad where I am, but obviously it was way worse in Liverpool. I've seen videos and clips around Liverpool, like it was really people couldn't even stand up. So I see why it's called off, and I'm glad it was called off. If I'm honest, but yeah, we'll play them again. We'll play. I presume it'll be February when we do play them now. So yeah, I am happy it's called off though. If I'm honest.
So you don't think it's because the Evertonians were running scared?
You know what? I've got to be honest. It was probably the worst time to play them, especially in those weather conditions. We just drawn to Newcastle. We played. We looked knackered last night. We were poor, if I'm honest. And if we played Everton on Saturday in those conditions, it would have suited Dyche down to a T. So I'm glad it's postponed, and I'm glad we get another chance at it properly in decent weather. Hopefully, it's decent weather. Might not be. Might be a storm by the time it comes around.
You never know. We might be in 6 foot worth of snow, and it'll look like New York State.
Exactly.
But we
Exactly.
shall jump on. We'll jump on from that one, and we will go straight into Aston Villa Southampton. So, Henry, I'm going to bring you in on this one, mate, because you are the most southern club out of here. So you're the closest one to for Southampton on the south coast. Obviously, we did discuss it last week, and we thought that it was definitely going to be a Villa win, but it wasn't as glamorous as we thought it was going to be, was it, mate?
Not quite. I mean, it's just one of those. Like, I just feel that this is going to happen. I think whilst we touched on how bad we all think Southampton are this year, we also spoke about the fact that even when it's close for them, they're still going to end up on the wrong side of a result, and that's why they're ultimately just going to get relegated instantly. They're still bottom, 5 points after 15 games. I mean, if you try and stretch that out to get an average of the whole season, it's probably looking at about 13, 14 points come the end of the season, which is just utterly pathetic, to be honest. And I know we tried to say that we shouldn't be too negative or we shouldn't be too harsh on Southampton, but they are just so bad. And it's even in games like this where, you know, Villa have been off the pace recently, and, you know, maybe they've had chances and the such, but they just don't seem to be able to get results at any point this season. And I think that is just the sign of a bad team. And then one final point on Southampton is their manager. You know, we saw it with Burnley and Vincent Kompany, and his tactic of playing basically sacrificial lamb football with Burnley as the lamb, and then securing himself a good job at Bayern Munich. It's almost like, you know, Russell Martin's doing the exact same thing, and it's mind blowing because it's not working. And if I was a Southampton fan, which I'm not, luckily, I mean, you can tell me how your mates are feeling, because he must be bloody livid. He must be livid. The club's just been put up for sacrifice, isn't it?
He drives down there every single weekend when they play at home from North Essex, and he's doing it. I don't know why he does it. I think, well, to be fair, he is a copper, so it's probably the only thing to get out of life, to be honest. Let's put it that way. So he's definitely, that's how he gets therapy from it. But no, you're completely right on that one, mate. So if I jump over to you on this one, obviously Southampton are a really embarrassing setup this year, and I mean that's even Spurs can say that we have more sort of more credibility than them. But I mean, Southampton have got Spurs coming up at the weekend, so I mean, and I'm going to give this one to you as a free shot. I'll give it to you and Harry as a free shot on this one to shoot me down in flames. You know that Spurs will give them their first freaking win of the season. Am I on the right line here, do you reckon?
Harry, you go first.
No. You had something you wanted to say. Go on.
Do you know what? I mean, with Spurs, like, I know you're going through, you know, not the best time, but you should win, really. Like, I expect you to win that. But yeah, it's so unpredictable. Like, you just never know, because, you know, you can beat Man City's just that team for you guys that you always beat. But yeah, I mean, you should win that, really. But Southampton,
You really should be winning that. Like, easy 2-0, honestly. But like, with how the Premier League has been, you know, these last few weeks, it's really like difficult to tell with how certain clubs, you know, are acting really big and then just get absolutely shot down. Man City, you know, trying to stay humble and then just failing miserably. So you never know. You never know.
To watch
it has been a joy.
But then that's the thing. Spurs gave Crystal Palace their first win of the season, and I had Henry straight on afterwards, and he properly rubbed it in my face. We gave Ipswich their first win of the bloody season, and all at the bottom of the table when we played them. So we might as well just do it for Southampton again. But I mean, if I bring it back onto this game, take it away from myself, I'm just rinsing myself completely. It's not fair. So, Damon, if I come over to you, mate, I mean, obviously Southampton are Liverpool's old youth academy in years gone by. So if they do go down, I'm sure there's a couple of players that you guys will probably pick up for a nice little steal and all that. But I mean, Aston Villa, they've got John Duran. The man always seems to turn up when they need him and all that. I mean, obviously, he has scored a couple of goals against Liverpool as well. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on John Duran this season, mate? And do you think he's got the makings of a top-class Premier League striker?
He's one of a couple of players I've been saying we should be in for him because of what's going on with Nunez. Jota's not available half the time. John Duran, I said there's 3 strikers for me I'm looking at right now, and John Duran is one of them. Just because of the fact that I feel like he is seen as a backup at Watkins, sort of taken over in the last couple of weeks, hasn't he? Really, over Watkins. I think Watkins has dropped up a little bit. But can we take advantage of that in being a backup? Will he be cheaper? I don't know. I don't know what you guys think on that. Will he be cheap because he's a backup? But he's sensational, isn't he? He's sensational. Doing it in Champions League as well as the league. Very clinical. Definitely a player I look at for us to sign. Whether we do put the money for him without selling anyone first or letting people go for free, for example, is another question to be had. But yeah, it's definitely a player I do like, and I like the way Aston Villa play. I like how quite well drilled they are. I just think that Champions League sort of knock-on effect is starting to happen a little bit in the league. Like 1-0 against Southampton, yeah, it should have been a given really against Southampton. No offense to Southampton, but it should have been a given win, and they made it difficult for them. But did they have one high on the Champions League this week? Possibly, but they're doing it in Champions League as well, so you can't knock them, can you?
Yeah, I think they won last night, didn't they? They got a
Yeah.
3-2 win with Ross Barkley getting a late winner, so that was very positive. I mean, obviously Harry has done a lovely clip for us, just to show what John Duran did do last night. I'll get this banner to piss off. Or the other night, he got 1 goal, 79% pass accuracy, XG 0.65, 3 shots, 21 touches, 2 final third passings, and that's 3 duels won as well. So, I mean, for a striker, not a bad return rate, not the greatest, but in a game where he has stepped up and done the business for him, I don't think you can really complain on that one. So let's move on to the next game of the day. It was a lovely game for a neutral in West London, to say the least. Harry, I'm going to come to you on this one, mate, because, I mean, this is an amazing scoreline when you think neither team could freaking defend, could they?
When I got a message from a fancy league chat that Brentford was winning 4-2, or it has won 4-2, I was like, "You're joking!" And I went to go check the scores, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I didn't think Brentford had it in them to win 4-2, like at all, and it was absolutely like mind-boggling to see that even happen in the first place. I mean, fair enough to Brentford. They've been doing like fairly well, but at the same time, it's like you don't expect that score to happen like at all, do you?
No, of course, and it's definitely one of them surprises. I mean, neither team could defend to save their lives, but going front foot forward, I mean, if you get 6 goals in a game as a neutral, I mean, that's outstanding, isn't it? So, Henry, if I bring you in on this one, mate, obviously we discussed it last week and we thought that this could be a draw between the two of them, maybe a 2-2 setup, something like that. But I mean, Thomas Frank has properly done himself credit, and I don't know whether you saw that clip of the dressing room afterwards when he was doing a speech that went around on Twitter as well. He was wax lyrical about his players. It's outstanding, ain't it, mate?
Yeah, we spoke about this game last week in the preview section, and we said that there could be goals, and we said it could be an exciting game, purely because of the fact that both teams have been involved in some really good games this season. Obviously, we had that week we were discussing the Newcastle 3, Liverpool 3. I think it was being played as we were chatting, in fact. And we were saying both these teams, they're not incredible at defending, but they're good at scoring goals and they're dynamic and they're flexible. But just touching on Frank, like you said, I was discussing this with my dad and one of my brothers the other day at dinner. And we were saying, you know, if you ranked your top 3 to 5 Premier League managers, Thomas Frank has to be in there in terms of what he's done, in terms of the players at his disposal, in terms of the budget that he's had to bring players in. It's incredible. And I think, you know, I expected an exciting game. I didn't necessarily expect it to be 4-2. But, you know, these are two teams that I kind of put on the same level at the moment in terms of, you know, they're kind of just outside of that kind of European football consistently. And, you know, when you've got players like Kevin Schade, Jan Visser, Brian Mbeumo, who we spoke about so much last week, there's just so much kind of flexibility in that attacking line. I just think Brentford are doing absolutely superbly at the minute. And like we've said every week I've been on, Thomas Frank is not going to be lasting very long. And that dog is really annoying me. So I'm going to mute myself after I thought I would do that.
Yeah. Whose dog is that? I mean, I have got an air rifle if anyone wants to borrow it. It will not be barking anymore. But obviously, so as always, we will do an opposition preview. I'm just going to say hello to some people in the chat. Obviously, Barney, one of our regulars who usually comes on with us, evening May. Jay as well. Big up to Harry. And
Hello.
there we go. Big up to me as well. I don't think it's you, mate. Sorry about that. I think it's the other Harry. But you could take the credit if you want to on it, mate. So we'll go for that. Soph, if I can come over to you. I mean, obviously, Newcastle on the bit of an end of a thumping after they had a really decent result against Liverpool in their previous fixture. Sorry, Damon, on that one, mate. But obviously, Newcastle have regressed back to a win one, lose one, win one, draw one, lose as well. I mean, what impact do you think this has on Eddie Howe's position? Because, I mean, when you do lose to a team that you think Newcastle should be better than, it probably does have a bit of an impact, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this game, like, I didn't really know what the score was going to be going into it, but I at least expected Newcastle to get something out of the game, and it's a bit like you said, they've been very inconsistent because, like, obviously, good results draw for Liverpool, and then to obviously lose like that it's just crazy. So I think, yeah, I think Eddie Howe's under. I wouldn't say he's under like tons of pressure, but I think now he's been here for a little while, he's under a bit of pressure to obviously maybe win things as well, maybe get to a final. I mean, I know in his first season he got the top four, which was obviously
Mhm.
a massive, you know, overachievement, and they did really well. But I think they're struggling really. I mean, last season they struggled a little bit with like injuries and stuff, and obviously they're having those same sort of problems. But I think the inconsistency is sort of their problem at the moment. I think if they can just get a few good results, you know, a few wins, I think they'll be in a good position. But I mean, they did really well against us when we played them, so they are a very good team to play against. But I think they just need to have, you know, some good wins and put in some good performances. But yeah, there will be definitely pressure on him this season if Newcastle don't have a great season or if they don't win anything.
I think it has come out
No.
as well. I think Indy Carla, who actually have been pretty good in the past in terms of their credibility, released or announced the story that they're definitely getting a different manager in for next season. And I don't think that could really come as a surprise for anyone. I don't think Eddie Howe's a good enough manager to kind of to match the ambition of the owners. Like, I think he's a good manager for a team like Bournemouth or like Newcastle when he first came in, and I think he'd be a
Yeah.
great manager for somebody like Southampton now or any of those kind of lower half Premier League teams. But to kind of take that next step and push for silverware and consistently be breaking into those Champions League and Europa League places, Eddie Howe really isn't that guy. So I think I just don't think that's a surprise. So I'm interesting to see who they potentially get. There hasn't been any names put out just yet, but that could definitely make Newcastle want to watch going into next season. But
Yeah.
this season, it just feels like another kind of static season after the highs of that kind of first season under the Saudi owners, where they then got the Champions League and the likes.
Well,
Question,
you know the
question,
way.
guys. Sorry, question. Is he like Arteta?
Ooh.
Do you know what? It's an interesting one because, like, I think Arteta has got more pressure on him this season, because we've not won anything.
Probably we're
Um,
using dark arts, so like
I think with Eddie Howe, it feels, you know, different because Arsenal are expected to win things all the time. But I think with Eddie Howe, I do agree. I think maybe he's taken them as far as he can take them. I mean, that could be the same with Arteta. That's the question as well. Can Arteta take us to that next level? And this season, you know, we'll find out. I mean, he's been there for, you know, 5 years. I think. I mean, he joined in 2020 when we won the FA Cup. So that's the question, if Arteta can take us to that next level. I mean, right now, I don't know if he can, but because it's going to be hard as well because, like, if Liverpool win the league this season, I think they'll deserve to do that. But I also think, this lot's going to be here for one season. They've won it straight away, and then we're trying for like a few seasons and we've not been able to do it. So I do think this is going to be like maybe a decider season for Arteta.
Could I ask as well, when you say that,
I would-
Arsenal are expected to win trophies, and this is coming from a fan, I don't support Spurs, I don't support Arsenal, I don't support Liverpool, any of those teams. Who is it that's expecting to win those trophies other than Arsenal fans? Because, I mean, if you look at it purely numerically, I can't speak today, Arsenal aren't a top trophy winner over the last few seasons.
Yeah.
So is it just an internal expectation that this manager's been here for 5 years, so it's about time maybe we win a Premier League or we win a Champions League, etc. Or is it because I don't feel, as a Palace fan, I don't look at Arsenal. I didn't prior to this season and think, yeah, you know what, they probably should be winning the Premier League now because you haven't done enough yet to do that. So in a sense, I agree with what you said that maybe Arteta has taken Arsenal as far as he can. And I think it is interesting, we talk about Howe and we talk about Arteta, and I think some clubs, I think it can definitely be a learning lesson to fans that managers certainly have their limits, and you know,
Yeah.
Arteta might jump to a Newcastle and try his hand at that at some point. You just don't know. But I just think it's an interesting talking point about where that
Yeah.
expectation comes from.
I think for me, like, if you look at Arsenal's sort of like history under like George Graham, Wenger, or even before then, I mean, we obviously have had a lot of success, and I think Arsenal, I mean, like you said, maybe in the past sort of decade, yes, we've won like FA Cups, which I absolutely love, but we've not really won a title. I believe we should be doing that, but like you said, with Arteta, it's been a long process. I think he's done so many incredible things, but like we said, it's good to have these conversations about whether managers are just able to take us a certain, step and not able to get us over the line. He has obviously won us an FA Cup. I know that was with like Emery's team at the time, and not many of those players have won since then. So yeah, it's a big question because honestly, I just don't know if he can win us a league. We've gotten so close. Like last season was probably like the closest I felt to winning something. But yeah, it's just a bit frustrating. We can't really get over that line.
No, exactly. So if I just jump quickly back onto the game, so I mean Brian Mbeumo, probably one of his better performances for it. 90 minutes played, goals 1, 79% accuracy, XG 38, shots 3, something else, passed into the final third, and duels 1 of 5 and 2 respectively. So obviously a very good performance from him as well. So Henry, I'll jump straight into you on this one, mate. Obviously, you did predict right that you thought that you would get at least some sort of result against City. So, I mean, I think it's only fair for you to start us off on this one, mate, and then I'll come over to Damon after that.
I didn't expect to be flying down the Homesdale in the 4th minute. I'll be honest. That was pretty good. The celebrations for that goal were pretty brilliant. It was an interesting game. You know, it was one of those where we've spoken about so many times this season that Palace genuinely could have been. By the time that Haaland's back post header went in the 30th minute, Palace could have been 3 or 4 goals up. We missed so many chances yet again, which has just it's just getting more and more frustrating, to be honest. You know, we defended really resolutely. You know, we go 2-1 up in the second half with a well-worked corner. It was like watching. I mean, Palace haven't scored. For context, for people that might not know, that's the first time we've scored from a corner, directly, I believe, in about 2.5 seasons. You know, we defend well, and then there's a bit of a misjudgment. Rico Lewis gets slipped in and finishes really well. But it was just one of those games where, in the end, the draw was probably a fair result. You know, they had chances, Palace had chances. I wasn't very impressed with City, to be honest. I mean, the football they play is so boring, and when you're sat in the stadium watching it, and for 20 minutes you're just watching it bounce between their centre backs, it could put you to sleep. And I was really on the borderline of falling asleep. So I wasn't impressed with City. I think Palace played well. We're definitely building momentum. This Sunday is a huge game coming up. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think for the most part, the main thing I'd want to talk about is Will Hughes, because he was lights out, incredible. And when you're playing against De Bruyne, that it could be kind of hard to stand out in the middle of the pitch, but he definitely did that. So yeah, it was a good result for Palace. You can never complain about a point against Man City.
Completely appreciate that, mate. And Damon, obviously, I'll come over to you on this one, mate. This does kick City back even further away from retaining the title, doesn't it, for you guys? So, I mean, like Henry said, City have been right off the boil recently, haven't they? And watching them it's more fun watching paint dry and all that after time. They are completely devoid of ideas.
At least Arsenal have corners. City don't have anything at the moment.
Yeah, at least we have something.
But City, the thing is with City, right? I want to rule them out of the title race the way they're playing, but you can't rule them out. However, that City side that came to Anfield a couple of weeks ago is not a City side I recognise, not in recent years. So for me to see that City side, they look like a mid-table team, honestly, against us and again at Palace. And I want to thank Palace as well. Palace and Tottenham especially. These two clubs have been bogey teams for City in the last few years. And these two clubs, I always look forward to Palace and Tottenham playing City because of the title run-ins with them. I know for a fact Palace and Tottenham do get results off City. I don't know how they do, but they seem to do. And it's done it again this season. You beat them 4-0 and Palace have got a result again. Was it the Townsend last minute? Was it a winner? The screamer that scored? Was it Townsend? I want to think of.
That
was
in history.
That's what I'm saying. That was another time when Palace got points off them, and I appreciate Palace and appreciate Spurs for getting points off them. But I don't think it's the same City side this season. I really don't. And like I said, I don't want to rule them out. But I'm looking at them thinking, are you actually in a title race here? So I'm looking at Arsenal and Chelsea more threat.
To be honest, and I was saying the exact thing after watching City play, and I think people talk about the injuries, and I think the main reason for me that Rodri is such a big miss for them is because when you sit and watch them, it's harder to kind of take it in when you're watching them on the telly, but when you're sat in a stadium watching how they play, they keep the ball in their own half or just inside your half. They just keep the ball and they basically wait until the opposition get bored and one of them steps out or one of them slips or makes an error, and then they break and they score because they're so efficient. But what was really interesting was that, Walker, who I thought had a really poor game, again, lots of times this season we've said that, he's on the ball and he goes to play a pass that 3 years ago would always go to feet and it's gone off the pitch. And that's what allowed Palace to get back into the game because they were giving balls away, they were making poor passes, and I think if they had that Rodri in the centre mid, which they missed so much this season, they just pass it around, and I genuinely think that alone would have them above Chelsea at the moment, pushing Liverpool further.
He's such a linchpin for them, and he definitely dominates the centre. I mean, Barney obviously has said, I really hate Will Hughes. Watched him a lot at... oh, wait, no, that's Ray. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to spell shit here. Let's put it that way.
I was going to say, what did Geezy do? If you saw the pass for the first goal, that pass is just outrageous. And he's seen Munoz. And obviously, Mateta's been smart. I don't know where Mateta must have got a couple of degrees since we signed him because he's starting to do things much more intelligently. But that pass is unbelievable. I mean, if that's De Bruyne playing that pass through to Haaland, it's spoken about constantly. And the finish from Munoz, who's been brilliant. But yeah, I mean, Barney's obviously got good taste in footballer because Will Hughes, I mean, he was everywhere. And I also love that when he does anything, even if he kicks the ball off the pitch, the entire crowd go Hughes. And on the telly, it just sounds like we're booing him. And I just think that's really funny.
No, fully appreciate that, mate. Fully appreciate that. Right, let's jump up to Old Trafford. This was a fun one. I really did enjoy this one. So, Harry, I'm going to come over to you on this one, mate. I mean, five goal thriller at United at Old Trafford. I mean, when you think of the invincible fortress that it was, now they can't even afford to fix the roof.
It's like
what's your thoughts on this one, mate?
Like when I saw this game week coming up and I saw United Forest together, I was like, Forest have been so like weird of a team. They beat Liverpool and then they just kind of, do what they want afterwards because they're already bragging about the fact they won against Liverpool. And look where they are now. So honestly, it didn't really come to much of a shock to me that they beat United, considering that, it's a new manager. He needs to still settle in with a team that's quite frankly not like the best at times. And honestly, I wasn't expecting high goals. I was expecting Forest to win, but I didn't expect it to be 2-3. That shocked me personally. Don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I fully agree, mate. And Soph, if I come over to you, obviously, after this game, there was an interesting article that came out today saying that apparently a minimum of half of the United squad is up on considered transfer listed for them. I mean, literally, they've probably even put Doris the tea lady on that list at the moment, knowing Jim Radcliffe. So, I mean, they've lost their director of football within a week. They've now lost to Forest as well. I mean, if you've seen a shit show of a club, I mean, probably the only other club that's worse than this is Roma at the moment. What do you think?
I mean, it's terrible. with the game, I'm always hoping United lose. So I was really, happy for Forest, and it was like you said, it was a crazy game, so many goals. But obviously United, are sort of where Arsenal were when Emery kind of took over, when Emery left. They've got to get rid of so many players, bring new players in. The manager does need time, because it's not going to be like an overnight success. And these aren't really his players, so he's just probably working out as well, sort of which players he wants to have and keep. But yeah, I mean,
Maguire's gone.
yeah, I mean, United were a mess. Like even at the women's team, everything they said about them as well, not really caring for them. I just think everything around United just isn't great right now.
No, it definitely don't inspire confidence. And on this one, we did get an outstanding performance from Morgan Gibbs-White for this. 79 minutes played, 2 assists, 79 pass accuracy, 1 goal, 2 shots. I've got to get rid of these fucking banners. 49 touches, 3 passes into the final box, and Jules 1. I mean, Damon, if I come to you on this one, mate, I think Gibbs-White has taken his game to another level in the last 2 seasons. I mean, he's got to be surely pushing for contention in the England squad, hasn't he, mate?
Oh yeah, him and Smith Rowe. I bet Arsenal fans are thinking what we could have had with these players, and especially when they're lacking up front instead of just Saki. You know what I'm saying? Like these like Smith Rowe and Gibbs would have done a job at Arsenal right now.
I was devastated to lose Smith Rowe. Devastated.
But yeah, that's the thing. But then they go on and they do what they're doing now at Forest and Fulham, respectively. Yeah, but if this is not just a Premier League result, is it, though, guys? It's a Marks and Spencer's Premier League result. This one, Man United Forest. Man United, I love the downfall. I absolutely love the downfall, and I think Amorim's the perfect manager there. I do believe I wanted Amorim at Liverpool before Slot came in. He was one of the managers I wanted, but I think they need to let him be brutal. A bit like Arteta was, like Sophie said, a bit like Arteta was there. He was allowed to get rid of Aubameyang, allowed to get rid of. That's why he needs to do like players like Rashford and Maguire. He needs to come in and really set the standards and set the club on the straight narrow path. And if he's allowed to do that, then they might come back. But if he's not allowed to do that, then they're in trouble even further. But yeah, fair play, Forest. Well done to you guys. They are pushing for Champions League. They're in 5th, aren't they? They're above Man City at the moment. So it's very interesting to see what Forest are doing. Yeah, very interesting.
That's what I'm concerned about. And Henry, if I come onto this, mate, obviously we have been praising Nuno in recent weeks, haven't we? I mean, I won't talk about his tenure with one club, but obviously with leading Forest, I mean, he's got some massive scalps this year, hasn't he, to say the least? I mean, taking out Liverpool, taking out United now, I mean, he must be the tinker man this year, mustn't he? He just knows how to take on the big teams. I mean, he can't do shit all against the little ones, but the big ones, he could definitely do something against.
He's a weird manager. I've always thought he's a weird manager because we were linked with him. I think before we got Vieira in, but that's weird to say. But when you look at their season, in the last 20 odd games, they've got 5 losses. That's it, and the rest of them are a lot of wins, a handful of draws. And like you said, they're getting good results. They went to Anfield obviously right at the start of the season, and that was not too far into the season, and won there. Obviously drew that crazy result, the crazy game at Brighton, the draw at Chelsea. All of these results, and now beating United away. And I do think you should take that result in isolation with a pinch of salt, because United, as we've all said, are crap. But I do think that he's doing well, and what I love is that we've spoken about a lot this season. Re Thomas Frank and that those sorts of managers that have okay teams, like they're okay. Like Forest have an okay team. They've got an okay squad. They've got a decent squad. They've got a handful of very good players. I love Murillo. I love Gibbs-White. But this is what my point was earlier, kind of talking about Eddie Howe and Arteta, is that these Thomas Franks and maybe even Nuno's could be chucked in there, Unai Emery, where these managers are using worse. They've got worse squads at their disposal, worse players, but they're able to completely cause upsets. And I mean, you look at the Premier League table now, and if you showed someone from 5th to 10th, you know, Forest, Villa, Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford, and Fulham, if you showed someone that 6 years ago, they genuinely would probably, well, they definitely say it was a championship table, and they might even say it was a lower league than that. I mean, those are 6 championship teams of recent years, and they're up here above Spurs, above United, above, you know, teams like West Ham that have won European trophies recently. It's incredible, and I absolutely love it personally. Obviously, as a fan of a smaller club, we're just kind of stuck down a bit further at the moment, but you know, it's brilliant, and it's great to see these managers coming in, and you know, clubs trusting managers that have gone to Spurs like Nuno and you know, realistically done very poorly, and you know, been given another chance. And you know, Spurs are probably a bit frustrated that they've allowed a manager like Nuno to go now. At least looking back at Forest being in 5th.
I saw you say that with tongue in cheek, mate. Let's put it that way. I saw you say that with tongue in cheek on that one. You were a arsehole for that. And I know that you did 5th to 10th. You didn't go 5 to 15. You just went 5th to 10th just to make sure that we just sat outside of that at 11th, didn't you?
But also, Spurs. Nobody would see it. The second they saw Spurs in that, they'd know that it was outside the top 4 in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly, mate. No, I fully appreciate that. You did it in a dick about right away. Right, let's join in. Let's go out to West London on this one. We will go to a team that is dear to all of our hearts in Fulham, because of one of our favourite guests who does come on here, and then unfortunately the happy couple that I have to put up with tonight on here from the wrong side of the river, because you guys are just still squatting in North London, aren't you? You are on the wrong side of the Thames. But we will go to Craven Cottage, so we'll go 1-1 up Fulham Arsenal. So obviously Fulham did have taken 2 big scalps, and we'll say big 6 clubs. I'll say big 6. They have had obviously a result against Arsenal and a result against Spurs in the last 2 weekends over this. So, Harry, if I come on to you on this one, mate, I mean, obviously Fulham did take the lead. You guys did have to rely on a set piece to get back into it. I mean, Fulham have been outstanding this season, haven't they?
They have. I can't hate Fulham at all, and I never have, because like when it comes to this game, it's shocking that like Arsenal's defenders tend to score and like sort of bring us back more than the strikers do. Like I mean, I look at Jesus, for example, who is currently playing in the Arsenal game against Monaco, and I just don't see how he stays in the squad. I mean, I look at Kai Havertz. He doesn't, as much as he's a great player, I just don't see he has the striker potential of like, you know, anyone could have. And we really need that striker, and I think sometimes games like this shows why we needed that striker in the first place. And it's honestly mind-boggling to not just me. I think the whole football community that Arteta didn't think, you know what, let's get a striker instead of going, you know what, Sterling sounds great. So it's shocking to me that like it's just like games like this is the reason why we need a striker, and the sooner Arteta realizes that, the better, honestly. But fair play to Fulham.
No, I completely agree on that one. And so obviously Arsenal have utilised set pieces in a number of games this year. You are the top scorers from set pieces for about the last 22 seasons, probably, knowing how it goes now with weird stats. But obviously you guys didn't play that great, did you? To be honest, I think you fell into the trap of Fulham playing deep and trying to get around it.
Fulham's that game that we always struggle with. Like last season, we lost to them, but obviously drawing against them for me, if Arsenal want to win the league, it's just not good enough. I will say though, before Fulham scored, we were actually doing good, and then as soon as they scored, like you said, how defensive they were, we couldn't break them down, and it's almost like we don't have any ideas. Like Barney said in the comments, it's like we rely on set pieces, and I don't mind sort of if we are going to score from set pieces, but I want us to have other ways to score, like a plan B. Like Harry was saying, Jesus, if he comes on, we know he's not going to do anything. So off the bench, we obviously have Ranieri, who Arteta doesn't play too
Great
much.
talent.
Yeah, he gets like 10 minutes, and in that time he can't do too much. Like, if Arteta doesn't want to rush him in because he's young and that, I'm okay with that, but give him a bit more game
But when he
time.
does come on, he does fantastic, and it actually is such a shame that Arteta doesn't bring him on more. I get he's young and he needs to not have that sort of pressure on him, but at the same time, he's just fantastic. He's one of the things Arsenal needs.
Yeah.
So does Skelly. Skelly's like a great talent that just kind of gets put onto the bench and kind of rotting away. Thankfully, he's playing this game against Monaco, but obviously we're talking about Premier League. But in terms of Premier League, Skelly doesn't play. Bloody Ethan doesn't play. Arteta just relies on. I feel like Arteta, personally, anyway, he relies on set pieces too much and doesn't know how else to score past that. And it's really funny seeing all the memes on Twitter about it. But
yeah, like Stoke City.
unfortunately, we don't really help ourselves, do we? So.
I think we just, like Harry was saying before, I know Saka does score mostly, but at the moment it's our defenders that are sort of scoring, like Gabriel. I know he's been injured, but Saliba's
Gabriel in the striker position, for God's sake.
Yeah, do we need to swap it over? Because but
I think Gabriel scored more this season than fucking Jesus has. It's ridiculous.
It's I think the Fulham game, it does feel like 2 points drop because, like I said, last season we didn't, we lost, and this season we're still making them same mistakes. So it's not been the best time, and it's just give me 2 seconds.
That's all right.
So it's that's all I wanted to say really about that. That game was not great.
Yeah, I mean, when you did say Numeneri, I thought you did say Ranieri, and I was going to say he's at Roma right now, and he's not particularly old or young anymore. So that's probably my hearing making me sound old on that one. Let's put it that way. But obviously, Fulham did deserve a point out of it, so they did hold on for you guys, and obviously you guys couldn't come up with anything to get around that. So if we we'll go to Ipswich now, and that was a tight game between Ipswich and Bournemouth, with Bournemouth just winning 2-1. So Damon, if I come over to you on this one, mate. I mean, obviously Ipswich have played some nice football this year. The Lap has scored some nice goals, but they still can't seem to scrape more than one win in a row, let's put it that way. And Bournemouth just seem to be knocking everyone over at the moment. I'm kind of concerned how they keep doing it. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on these ones, mate?
It's a shame Ipswich don't play Tottenham every week, isn't it? Really, but yeah, I think are they becoming a little bit too? Are they becoming a little bit too naive in the Premier League? Ipswich, where he's playing his football as McKenna, he's doing a good job and relying on the Lapper quite a bit. But when you come up against a team like Bournemouth, who's been in, I know they don't seem like a Premier League, like a standard Premier League team, but they have been for a while. They've been in the Premier League for a long time, so they are very wise when it comes to these sort of games. So I think they went into the game a bit naive, trying to play the way that they've always played. But it works against some teams, it don't work against others. And Bournemouth are just on fire, aren't they? Semenyo's sensational. I really see Bournemouth pushing for the way they're playing right now, pushing for Europe. That's how good I think they're playing. But Ipswich, I think they're doing enough right now for what I expected of them. Probably even doing better than what I expected of them in terms of games. But it's just a results business, isn't it? That's the thing. It's no good playing good and then losing the game because you're going to go down anyway.
It's just Luton all over again, isn't it?
Yeah, you could say so, yeah.
They play some nice games. They get some decent results. They scrape out some draws, but ultimately they are the best team in the Championship. But
it's not good enough. Yeah.
I reckon they could become a yo-yo club like Norwich was for a couple of years in a row, where they go down, come up, sort of cycle. Because I I mean, obviously, all the bottom of the table's quite tight. I mean, Palace have started opening a little bit of a gap down there with a 4-point difference, which I'm sure Henry's very happy about on that one compared to with how it was a little while ago. But they are sitting in the relegation point at the moment. But I mean, Henry, if I can come to you, mate, obviously, Evan Nilsson, we seem to be talking about this fucker every week, don't we? And all that now. Somehow he keeps doing it, don't he?
Yeah, I think it's cool as well. What I liked about this signing is it was when they played Spurs, and it was just I loved watching. Obviously you've got Solanke playing against his old club, and then you've got their kind of replacement for Solanke. I'm ending up having a pretty solid game, and Solanke obviously missing a few massive chances. I just think Bournemouth are a really good team. That's kind of what you've got to say about them. But then even then, this is when we talk about how close the Premier League is this year. You think about how poor Villa have been, over the last month or so, and how good Bournemouth have been, and Villa are still above Bournemouth in the table. So I think that kind of just speaks volumes about how tight this Premier League is. I think the issue with Ipswich is that when you first come up to the Premier League, we did it in 2013-14. You have to be good at home, and you have to make your home stadium a fortress and make yourselves hard to beat. And Ipswich haven't done that, and I don't think we'll do that. I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're strong enough as a squad. They're not strong enough defensively. And, when you're losing, they would have seen that kind of back-to-back home games of Palace and Bournemouth at the start of the season and probably thought, that's a chance to maybe get 6 points there, and they're getting a pretty fast reality check to what the Premier League can actually entail.
Of course, mate. Of course. So obviously, Damon, thanks for tonight, mate. I know you got to jump, so
good,
where
mate. Thank you.
find you? And it's been a pleasure, mate.
I love coming on here. I would like to come on again at some point, hopefully in the future. Yeah, you can find me on Talking Reds. Liverpool fan channel. It's a brand new channel, about a month old, but we're doing all right at the moment, and we're getting some good content out there. Not just previews and predictions. We do like quizzes, and we do all sorts of fun stuff as well. So I'd like to get some rivals on there as well. If you guys ever want to come on, and maybe even a quiz as well, if you want to come on that as well. Thank you everyone for letting me on as well. Absolute pleasure coming on, guys. Thank you.
care.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers,
Nice to
mate.
meet
That'd
you.
be wicked. Thanks very much. See you later, man. Cheers, mate.
Bye, mate.
Then there was 4.
Yes, there was 4. There we go. We've got all of that. No, I don't want to enhance that because people can see my shiny head. No, that's
Yeah,
really not a nice
Makes
format. Fucking Ada. That's horrible. That's no
Oh.
wonder my mirrors keep breaking. Let's put it that way. Right, let's continue how we are. So I'll stick with you, Henry, because I know it's your favourite team on the South Coast, mate, against Leicester. I mean, this didn't have. I don't think I ever thought it'd be this result. I don't know about you, because I mean, I was hoping Brighton were going to kill these lot. Let's put it that way.
We speak
And
every time we speak. I tell you that obviously all my friends are Brighton fans because I live down here, and all of them have been saying recently that they are just awful in the closing stages of games. They can't see a game out. They're not defending properly. They're fine in the first half and the first 60 odd minutes, and they'll absolutely dominate opposition sides. But they're all absolutely crap in their pants ahead of this Sunday. From what they've told me, they're not looking forward to it. They're saying that I think they're just putting excuses out early that then they can come back and say, "Oh, I told you were going to win." Because I think outsiders maybe don't realise how much Palace and Brighton hate each other. Like, this is a big deal. I will probably not show my face in public for about a week if we lose. But yeah, in terms of the game itself, you've got an unbelievable goal from Lamptey, really good finish. Minter again is starting to prove that he's definitely worth the 30 odd million, I believe they paid for him from Newcastle, and a player that Newcastle could probably really do with at the minute. But then Jamie Vardy is somewhat inevitable. I feel like if you start chanting Vardy, score, you're kind of, and that was very smooth. You get the graphic up there behind, lovely stuff. Yeah. So obviously the goal in this is, by the way, is one of the. It's just one of those funny assists, isn't it? Where like you're just stat padding. Like he's played a 3-yard pass and then it's Bobby Roode with the finish. But it's a massive point for Leicester because Brighton are, as much as I always say, I hate to say it, and give them credit, Brighton are a brilliant side. And Leicester, what I do think is interesting is that Leicester are doing exactly what I said that Ipswich need to do, and that's why out of the 3 promoted teams, they're the one that are outside of the bottom 3 because they've made the King Power somewhat of a fortress. They're making themselves hard to be beaten, and they've got the talent and the Premier League experience that the other 2 sides don't really have. So yeah, I mean, it was an interesting game. Don't think we were really expecting it, but probably Leicester fans are feeling a lot more happy about the outcome than the Brighton fans are.
Of course. And Sophie, if I can come to you on this one, obviously that does mean that Brighton fall a little bit away. They're not far off, though. They are on 24 points. They are in 7th. Their goal difference isn't as good as the rest, but it's mainly that there's a couple of teams all on the same page there, and the only reason they're like that in the table is because of alphabetical fucking order, based on the sort of points allowance. But I mean, Brighton would have probably hoped for more out of this one, but
Yeah.
Van Nistelrooy seemed to do a job over them, to say the least. And like Henry said, they have turned it into a fortress. They have closed up shop. They managed to do some stuff in there, and Jamie Vardy still seems to do it, even nearly at the age of 95. So
I
give me
know.
your
I feel
thoughts on
like
this
he's
one.
been playing. I feel like he's been playing for the longest time. Yeah. I mean, I did think Brighton would win this. I think Brighton have come such a long way and they're very good, but I think they're also gonna drop points sometimes to these sort of teams because obviously Leicester's back up in the Premier League and they'll be wanting to stay and do really well. So I'm not sort of surprised with the fight we saw from Leicester, but I think for Brighton, I think like you said, it's probably a better result for Leicester. I think Brighton would have really hoped for the 3 points because Brighton have come a long way, and for them hopefully they'll try and get Europe or maybe the Conference League. But obviously I know it's quite early on at the moment, but yeah, I think if you're a Brighton fan you would be a bit disappointed, but I suppose it's a point at the end of the day. But for Leicester it's a good point. I think they'll be happy with that considering how far Brighton have come.
Exactly.
I think you made a good point about them being happy. Just really quickly, because speaking to Brighton fans, they've said that they're frustrated that they always do well against the big teams and then they're crap against the smaller teams. But if you swap the draws against Leicester for the win against Man City, and that was the other way around, and you swapped all of those wins against the big teams and the draws against the smaller teams, and swapped all of those results and flipped them over, you'd probably say, yeah, we're having a good season. But because they're dropping points to the smaller teams but taking points off the bigger teams, if you did that, if you swap those over, they'd be on exactly the same. They'd still be on 24 points, still be in the same place at the table. But psychologically, they'd be feeling they were having a better season. I just think it's interesting, and I think maybe it kind of goes to show that the more expansive style of play is more effective against the better teams. And the Brightons of the world and the Villas recently and Bournemouth this season, especially the expansive, open, fast attacking football and kind of just a unique style of play is what harms the big teams.
No, I fully appreciate that, guys. And obviously, Leicester did get a crucial point to keep them in. I think, where are they? They are 17th, I believe, at the moment.
They're
Yes,
16th
they
at the
are.
minute because they're 1 point above Palace.
Oh yeah, they're ahead properly instead of you guys.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you where they are, Henry. Crystal Palace can stay where they are, and Leicester can keep.
I mean, if it ends like that, 17th, I'll take it, mate. You don't go down in 17th.
No, I was going to say, but I think Sophie just went down there. Let's put it that way. So we shall see on that one. Oh, fucking hell. This is the game that I didn't want to do. Right. Let's get it over and done with.
Save the best till last.
Well, I can go to West Ham Wolves if you want. I think it does.
Yeah, let's do Spurs. No, let's get out of the way now. I think the scoreline flattens Spurs here. I really do. I think because if you look at that, if you're at work and you get home and you see 4-3, you think, oh, fair play, Spurs gave it a good go. But I don't think that was the case. I mean, you're best poised to talk about this. So I think you should open the floor on this one, Kallum.
I think even when we were 2-0 up, we didn't really seem like we had control over the game. I mean, we lost Romero straight away. We had an enforced substitution from that. And then the amount of mistakes that were just mounting. I mean, we were sort of the culprits of our own downfall in this game, to be honest. 2 mistakes by midfield, giving away 2 penalties, not getting close to Sancho, to leaving the goal exposed for that as well. And I think we just didn't look interested at all. And everyone was praising Ange last year when we played that 4-1 or 4-2 with a high line and 9 men. Well, I mean, to be honest, from this one, we couldn't. There's no glory or glamour out of this game, I don't think at all. It's just literally we had nothing. Yeah, it's like Harry said. Oh no, that's Barney. Whoops. Yeah, good first 15 to 20 minutes, and second best the rest of the game. Own worst enemy, 2 penalties given away as well.
Good to see it. Good to see it. Keep it
I would
coming.
even say that. Yeah, I think even that was probably pushing it, to be honest. I think because we haven't been good for a while and all that, and no matter if we say that we scored 3 goals, we scored 2, went quiet for 70 minutes and went placid and only scored 1 in the dying embers of the game. So what's the point of us wanting to play a game and we end up playing the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes? We might as well just play NFL. Just go and play a rugby game or something like that. You might as well play in quarters and all that. Because yeah, I think you guys are right. This scoreline flatters to deceive and all that, because we were genuinely really poor. And when you talk about like clubs turning their home stadiums into fortresses, that's how it should be. This game doesn't define that. I mean, and I don't even think Chelsea were playing at their best either. I think that even Chelsea weren't particularly outstanding. They just had so much more than Spurs did. And I mean, obviously in the game, there's 2 questionable decisions from VAR, obviously with Caicedo and the potential red card, and then Kulusevski and the potential red card for elbowing the other player in the face and all that. And then the PMGOL having to do all their statements. So I thought it was a really poor showing from us, to say the least. And I was glad I was asleep.
You've got tough.
For half
you've got tough games coming up though as well. I mean, obviously you've got Rangers tomorrow away,
still got,
and that's
then we've got
easy.
Southampton.
You got Saints away, and then it's United
You should win that.
But then Liverpool Forest. I mean, your next, because the Southampton game's away, I would say your next game that I'd look at and think, yeah, Spurs should definitely win that, is Wolves at home, and that's just before New Year's. That's in 6 games' time, and that's worrying.
So that's 3 weeks.
I kind of hope
3 weeks.
Exactly, and I hope that by this point in the kind of in the cycle with Ange, we'd maybe be a little bit more confident about Spurs when they're going to play Forest and when they're playing, especially when they're playing against Southampton.
Mate, let's put it this way: they've done the press conference tonight, and we lost. We brought Romero and Van der Ven back for the Chelsea game. Both of them are now back injured. We lost Johnson through injury as well in that game. So from that game, we lost it 4-3. And yet for all the goals that we've scored, we've lost 3 players to go along with it. So it looks like our centre-back partnership will be Archie Gray, who's a natural right-back, or centre defensive mid, and Dragusin, who has about as much mobility as an old person on a Zimmer frame. So, I mean, literally, I don't have any faith going forward. And, I mean, when you've got someone... I mean, I'll throw the banner up quickly. I mean, someone who produces stats like Palmer. I mean, if any of our teams could have him in it, I mean, he's like quality, ain't he? I mean, chances created, 4 shots for. I know he got 2 penalties, but I mean, he just dictates games like there's no other. And I think that for them to get him for 40 million plus 5, that was a steal and a half, to say the least. And Spurs have a long way to come if we want to be considered a top 4, top 3 club and all that. And it goes back to what you were saying about people expecting to win trophies and all that. I mean, any Spurs fans that feel like we're entitled to anything, we cannot be entitled to sweet fuck all and all that, to be honest, mate, because there's nothing there for us. There's no incentive for us. And I mean, the amount of people that have questioned Ange this week, had a go at the board, everything like that. I mean, even Romero came out and criticised the board as well. What does that say about your own players saying that we don't do enough as well? I think there is a long way to go. But obviously, Sophie, I know you do need to jump off. I have been talking too much on that one. So thanks very much for tonight. I will keep Harry with us for a little bit longer unless you need him for anything.
You can stay if you want.
Where can everyone find you, Sophie?
And first of all, thank you again for having me on. It's been great to chat again, and it's been a great show. And yeah, if you want to find me on my YouTube channel, Schooner Gossip TV. If you want to follow me on Twitter, TV_Gooner. But thank you for having me on. It's really good to chat.
Cheers, Sophie. Thanks for that.
See you
And
later,
we'll see you on
bye.
the next one.
Bye, so.
Right, lovely stuff. So, obviously, I think I've ranted on enough about the Spurs game. I think I look like I'm nearly going to cry at the moment. So, can we move on to the next one, boys? And that one was a game that did have a big pendulum hanging over either Lopetegui's head or, O'Neill's head. And I don't think either of them have been sacked yet. But I've got a feeling that. What was the whole point of this game? The whole hype about it was that one of them would be sacked if they lost it.
Whoever loses gets sacked, and they've both stuck with them. But I can't see Gary O'Neill lasting much longer. I'm not sure if he's
not at all.
But the scenes at the end of the game, Mario Lemina, I think he was Wolves' captain, going head to head with their assistant manager, quite literally. It's just not what you want to see. It's just, I mean, it's one of those where the commentators always see nobody wants to see this, and obviously as football fans we're like, yeah, we do. We really want to see people getting all in each other's faces. But when it's a club captain and an assistant manager of the same team, I mean, that's just it's got to be time to kind of draw the curtains on that this period of football at Wolves. And I just think, I didn't think they were particularly awful in the game. I didn't think West Ham were particularly brilliant. I think, the West Ham players have the additional motivation of obviously everything that happened to Mikel Antonio on Saturday. And I mean, we have got to say quickly that we're just hugely relieved that, because I mean, that could have been had the most devastating ending to that story. So it's obviously, I feel like that does naturally give the players an extra bit of motivation, and they're playing for their teammate who's come so close to losing his life. And I think that, at home, West Ham probably did edge it and deserve to win. So Lopetegui survives another day. I'm surprised it's taken them so long to even get to this point. And likewise with Wolves, I think it's just a matter of time for both managers. But I think it might have been in poor taste for West Ham to take kind of, that kind of action following the news on Saturday. So that might be playing into it a little bit.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to trying to steady the ship a little bit, because it is one of them where it was very it was a horrible situation, seeing the images that did go around online, whether that is Antonio's car or not. Obviously we can't confirm or deny it, but it does look like it was a bad impact, and there have been reports it was in Epping Forest. So I mean, luckily he is in one of the hospitals in London being taken care of, so he is going to be out for a while, but obviously all best wishes to him. We may be rival fans, but we are all human at the end of the day, and you never wish that on anyone's. So on that one, but no, obviously both managers still in a job, so we will see for this coming weekend. So we ain't got no banners for this one, so I'm going to go by live score, game table and game lead for it. So Harry, I'll come to you on this one, mate. It'll go straight to Arsenal-Everton at Emirates. Obviously Everton have had a week off. Well, they've had 2 weeks off, realistically, based on the Merseyside derby being cancelled, whereas Arsenal are playing at the moment. I think they are in the lead against Monaco, aren't they? So
1-0, I think, something like that, with a Saka win. With a Saka
1-0 up at the minute.
So with the Arsenal-Everton game, you'd think with the amount of rest Everton has been getting recently, Pickford would, calm down a bit. He probably won't. He'll still be raging at his defender, isn't it? But I expect Arsenal to win this. Like, Everton just isn't the club it once was, to be truthful. And look, I just expect Arsenal to win this. I mean, if Sophie was here, she'd be saying the same thing. Like, Arsenal should be winning these games. You look at Fulham; they should be winning against Fulham. They should be winning against Monaco. They should be winning against Everton. And I expect. I don't think it's going to be like Arsenal 2-0. I think it might be like a 3-1. I think Everton might catch Arsenal lacking in a sense with Gabriel might not playing and other things here and there. I do personally believe that it'll be a 3-1 win for Arsenal at. Is it at home?
Yeah,
I don't
it's at
remember.
home, but
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Emirates. Yeah.
Yeah, so you think you'd think at home we'd win, and I hope we do. But like, there's a little like, go on, sorry.
you think you'd win away at Fulham though? I don't know. It's one of the. I feel like it's one of these games where I feel like if there's any side that's set up almost perfectly to counter Arsenal's abuse of corners, it's a Sean Dyche Everton side.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend about that because like Arsenal has just been, as we've mentioned in the show earlier, it is just set piece FC at the moment. So you would think that Everton, would be the perfect counter for that. But like, Saka's been really in form recently. I think Arsenal might change it up a bit. Shock horror. I think we might see a bit more front action from Saka and potentially Martinelli or Trossard, depending on who wants to play on the day. So I do think Arsenal will pick up this win, and I do believe it'll be a strong 3-1 win. And I do believe Everton will catch them lacking towards the end. And it's probably a Gabriel goal or like a Saliba goal. I don't know, a defender goal of some kind. It's not Arsenal that'll defend a goal these days, so yeah.
No, that's fair. Completely appreciate that one. So if we jump straight up to Liverpool then, and Henry, I'll come to you on this one. Obviously, two very informed teams, and Barney is still here, so I'm sure he'll give us his view on it. We'll go to Liverpool, Fulham. I think this one's got the making of quite a good game, and I'm quite surprised that it's the 3:00 kickoff, so we won't be able to watch it unless you've got a dodgy.
Yeah,
dodgy
you know
stick.
what? I mean, we all have dodgy sticks, don't we? But the thing is that I don't. I just can't.
You might want to go and see a doctor about that, mate. Then.
Of course, you'd make that joke. I was just looking at the upcoming weekend's games. The timings are so bizarre. We've got we've 4 games on
Yeah, we've
Sunday.
got no early
at
kickoff.
7:00. No early kickoff on Saturday. So it's 4 on Saturday, 4 on Sunday. Just bizarre. I don't really. It's like a lottery this season when you're playing and when who else is playing. But I think this could be a good game. I think you're making a point. I think Fulham have been pretty solid this season. They've got the kind of. I just think they're just a good team. I think I was really impressed with Sander Berge against Arsenal. I thought he was excellent. And then you kind of when you've got a strong defensive midfield base of him and Sasha Lucic, that your attacking players in front can do well. I just think Liverpool are too good. I think Liverpool are too good. It doesn't matter if they're behind. It doesn't matter who they're playing, how many chances they give up. They're just so consistent. And in a tough game away at Newcastle, they just found a way to get through it. And I think if that had been Arsenal playing there, I'm not doing this because Harry's on the show. We've had Arsenal for but I think you do compare them because they're title rivals at the moment. I think if that was Arsenal at Newcastle, they don't get a result from that game.
No, I don't disagree at all. Unfortunately, like Arsenal's just been so inconsistent. Because again, we should have won against Fulham, but like it just didn't happen, did it? So no, I clearly see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a cheeky prediction on this one. I would love to see a 2-2. I think that would be a very fair game from it, to say the least. I know Barney's going for 2-2. Oh no, he's changed it to 1-1 and all that.
Yeah,
I think there's got to be more goals than just that in it, to be fair. But if Liverpool get going forward, if Fulham stay tight at the back, then maybe we'll have an interesting game on this one. So let's jump straight up we'll go to St James's Park and we'll go to Newcastle versus Leicester on this one. I mean, Harry, I know we obviously discussed Eddie Howe feeling a bit of pressure after the Brentford game, and
obviously.
Leicester are coming off the back of that 2-2 draw, which is a decent result for them against Brighton. So, I mean, where do you see this one going, mate?
Oh, I see Leicester absolutely taking advantage of what's happening here. I see Leicester will, see that Newcastle's kind of fumbling the bag and try and sneak a quick one past them. I think Vardy's going to have a great night at the pub afterwards. I think it's going to be a really good game. Not for Newcastle, obviously. I think Isaac will do something. I think he'll get a goal. But I think at the end of the day, Leicester will absolutely crush them at the moment, and I think that will kind of add more pressure to Newcastle as a whole. So I do see Leicester winning that. Maybe I don't see it being a high scoring game, but I do see Leicester snatching that win off them.
Okay,
I think
Henry.
I think you've got to be a very brave man to make any sort of confident prediction in any game.
Oh, I'm more than confident.
But any game, including Newcastle, I can't tell you because they genuinely could, turn up and walk over Leicester 5-0, 5-1, and I don't think anyone would really be surprised. And on the contrary, Leicester could, it could be 1-1, 2-2, Leicester win 2-1, and I also don't think people would be surprised. So I'm not going to give you a prediction. I just think that whatever happens, I won't be surprised. That's all I'll say.
I understand that.
No, that's fair, even if you are a cop-out, but we'll accept it on that one. Right, let's go to Molineux then. Another 3 o'clock kickoff. This one is obviously relegation rivals at the moment. O'Neill versus McKenna. Sounds like the worst boxing match ever in history, but we'll go with that one. Obviously, I think Wolves are probably under more pressure, I would say, than Ipswich, because Ipswich can probably scrap something more together, whereas Wolves, their run just doesn't get any better, does it? So, Henry, I'm going to stick with you on this one, mate. Do you think Ipswich have got enough about them to get a result at Molineux, or do you think Wolves will keep it tight at the back?
I mean, this is a bit of a 6-pointer. I think it's hard. Again, you kind of try and close your eyes and imagine yourself. It's Saturday evening when you settle down and you're looking at back through the scores, and I can just see the thumbnail on Sky Sports Premier League of a Cunha hat trick, and I can just see it because I feel like if a player like him, plays at his best, I think that this is an easy win for Wolves. And this is the thing for me about Wolves, is that whilst they have been poor, I don't think they've been as bad as their league position suggests. I don't think they're playing that badly. I think they've had one of the best players in the Premier League this season in Matheus Cunha. I mean, if you look at the average ratings on SofaScore, he is the 5th highest rating this season. And he plays for a team sat in 19th at the minute. I can't see anything other than the Wolves win.
He's one of the top scorers as well in the league, isn't he? He's one of the top scorers in the league at the moment, I think.
We go to goals. Where is he? Yeah, it's in 8th place, got 7 goals. It's crazy looking at that table, actually, how many goals Salah and Haaland have scored. But I can't see anything other than the Wolves win here, to be honest. I think, I don't think Ipswich have enough.
Okay, mate. Just while you're on that, how many goals do Salah and Haaland have at the moment?
13 each. And for Haaland, that's insane because I can't remember seeing Haaland score for weeks. But
no, exactly.
Stay humble, eh?
It's incredible. It's incredible, though, isn't it? He just seems to score goals.
He's a bit of a freak of nature. He's kind of grown in a lab or something
like that. He's a robot, man. He's a robot.
Salah, though. Salah. I mean...
Arteta's a robot. Arteta's a robot, Harry. So, I mean, on that one, and you walked into that. Thank you very much. Good old Lego man.
Liverpool even put themselves in a position where they could lose Salah was just mind-blowing. Because, I think I remember saying it on here. I was even on here on a different podcast, and I was saying that the problem is that you could pay, you could let Salah go for free, bring someone in for 60, 70 million and not be guaranteed that output. So you're better off just spending, giving him whatever wages he wants effectively, because he's always going to produce.
They tried to do that with Nunez, didn't they? 90 million all in, and look how he's done all right. But I mean, nothing compared to Salah. And the fact that they was going to let Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah all go at one point and all that. I mean, what does that
That's just insane. I mean,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
kind of felt like it was never going to happen, but Salah was the one for me. You know, Trent is replaceable, and I might get a bit of stick for that, but I think
but
Trent is replaceable.
Bradley's
But-
pretty good, to be fair, as a backup at the moment. I think he's been pretty
Exactly,
decent when I've seen him.
I don't think Liverpool rely on Trent's passing ability from right back. I don't think they'd be a worse team without him. I think you're right. Bradley's a great backup, and Van Dijk again. You know, I think Van Dijk's ridiculously overrated. I think if you're a centre back and you're able to get away with consistently fouling opponents throughout 90 minutes, and you're never challenged on that, you're going to look better than you are. I think he's a good centre back. I don't think when I see the debates about him being one of the best, you know, in the Premier League history, I think it's just a bit over the top. I think he's solid, but then I think if he leaves, you know, you get a replacement for 40. You could come and get Maxence Lacroix from Palace, and he'd probably do a similar job. I think that Salah is the outstanding player that if you lose Salah, you've lost a guarantee of almost, with his goals and assists, 20, 30 goals a season.
It's no wonder Saudi wanted him for like 200 mil back a year or two ago, because that was ridiculous as it was. Because Salah is just fucking insane, man. Like,
but it does wind me up though, because like the thing is, he could have gone for that and just made a crazy amount of money. But a player like Mo Salah and a player of Mo Salah's quality should be playing at the highest level until he decides that he doesn't want to.
Yeah,
because I mean,
exactly.
even now, how old is he now? I mean, well, he must
32 or 33.
30,
I think.
yeah, he's 30. Yeah, 33 in June. So he's got another. Yeah, so he's not 33 really until next season, and he's top scorer in the Premier League again. I mean,
Mental.
it's just ridiculous. And he's second in assists. You know, he's got over 20 goal contributions. I mean, he's got 22 goal contributions in 15 games. Or 14.
When I
it's just insane.
When I look at it as well, that I always used to think Son was quite comparable to him, like from Spurs and all that. I mean, how Son has declined quite a lot over the last season and a half.
I do think that would have been a fair comparison. And I think I would have also thought that they were maybe a similar level. But I think Salah's just, I mean, the decline that Son's had naturally kind of since
has
Kane
been
left,
drastic.
It has been drastic, but has also done a lot of favour to people that were maybe the whole time saying that Salah was a lot better and was just light years above, because that has kind of proven them to be correct.
Salah lost Mane, and Salah obviously is still doing fantastic, but then Son lost Kane, and Son's just kind of like declining a little bit, and it's kind of sad to see because I love Son, man.
I know, I completely agree. I've always been a fan of Son, and him and Kane's partnership was brilliant to watch. But I think the difference between Salah and Son is that at times Son relied on Kane's finishing or his movement, or Kane, you know, playing as ridiculous through balls from deep through to Son, which a lot of his goals came from. Whereas Salah, I think, could play with anyone and still put up the same numbers.
Exactly. Salah's just a ridiculous footballer, man.
I don't think. When you look at like Salah and Gakpo or Salah and Jota, I feel confident. When I see him with Nunez, I just don't think Nunez works with any player, to be honest. He's just such a freak of nature sort of thing. He's not a Premier League style striker, is he?
But no, 100%. But then Salah just does it himself. He just carries the ball himself, bang, goal. And, you know, you saw that against Newcastle. I mean, that finish with his right foot from the right-hand side across goal, that shouldn't be going anywhere near, like, it's obscene. And he's just so ruthless. And I mean, Salah for me is up there. You know, when we're talking about Van Dijk, when we're talking about modern players being all-time Premier League players, Salah has a huge argument for being the best right winger in Premier League history. A huge argument, and I think he stakes a massive claim for that. Whereas when people talk about Van Dijk, I don't think he's kind of that far ahead as Salah is right now to put him in that position.
No, I fully agree with that. I think there's definitely a talking point there, at least for the future when it comes to it. Right, let's go to the 5:30 kickoff then for Saturday. I can kind of see why it is the televised game of the day. Forest versus Villa. Who wants to come in on that one, gentlemen? Because I have no clue where to go with it.
I think this will be the game to watch, I think, of that day. Because, like, you're looking at two teams that have done considerably well. I mean, again, Nottingham Forest beat Liverpool, making it Liverpool's only definitive loss this season, right? So I think people are rooting for Nottingham Forest to sort of stay doing well, and at the same time, Villa's been doing well for themselves. Villa, every time I look at Villa in Champions League, I'm like, damn, they're doing pretty fucking well for Aston Villa. So it'll be a very entertaining game, I reckon, and I don't expect no less than 3 goals. I expect more than that. It's gonna be a high scoring game. It's gonna be a really fun game to watch, honestly.
Okay,
Or it's going to
Henry.
be 0-0.
Oh
Or
God,
it's
yeah.
gonna be 0-0.
It'll be
This
like
is the thing, is that
we
and also,
such
I
high
like-
hopes.
I
It'll
like
be the
how
most
you-
boring game of the weekend, won't it?
I really liked how you
It
said
always
this is the
happens
game
though,
to
isn't it?
watch. I like how you said this is the game to watch. No, this is the only game you can watch and you're allowed to watch because it's the only one that's on TV.
That's true.
and you still
I
got to
dunno,
pay for it. You still got to pay
Exactly.
for it.
I don't know. I think this is one of those games where I think it could be a pretty exciting one. And also, I think it should be stressed that you look at this, Forest in 5th on, and then Villa in 6th, both on 25 points. This could be a pretty important game when we get round to May and we're looking at who's qualifying for which European competition.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this is a game of huge importance, and I think that's why if it is a tight game and it's 0-0 or maybe 1-0 either way or 2-1 either way, we shouldn't be disappointed because I think the managers more so will be looking at this as actually will, and the players, this could have a huge amount of importance when we get around to May.
Yeah. So maybe they'll at least want to point both sides out of it. Something like that, maybe, because all the points could be crucial. You never know. But no, really, I'm looking forward to that one. Let's put it that way. Right, let's jump straight to. Oh, we've only got 2 o'clock on Sunday, and that is obviously We'll go for the South Road Derby. I'm sure that's the closest thing that you can call it, or the Coast Road Derby. Oh wait, no, that's Southampton, Portsmouth. Yeah, we'll just go. We'll say it's Brighton, Crystal Palace.
Well, it's not a derby, lads. It's a rivalry. We just don't like each other. It's not anything to do with where we're located. I'm not going to get into.
It's only
why we
because the
don't like each
motorway
other.
that runs between the two of you, ain't it?
I'm not.
It's just
I'm
that
no,
motorway.
It's about 2 managers that I think were both playing at Spurs, I believe, at one point. And they didn't like each other very much. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but yeah, I'm at this game, and it's one of those where it always comes round, and I think more so because of where I live, it's a lot more of a big deal. But for me, this is this is the game you look out for in the season, and this is the game that you're shitting yourself the most before you get around to watching. But we're both playing good attacking football, positive, attacking managers, good sides. So I think this is going to be probably the best iteration of this fixture that we've seen in recent years.
No, I fully agree with that, mate. Harry, what's your thoughts on this one, mate?
I couldn't put it better myself, honestly. Crystal Palace is just a team I want to see win, and unfortunately hasn't been. But because and I'm not just saying this because Henry's here. I generally do like Crystal Palace. I always have. I always thought they would. I always picked them in FIFA whenever my friend used to fucking play Liverpool. I just really enjoy watching them play, and it's a shame they're so low down at the moment because I do genuinely think they should be a lot higher. So again, this will be I can't keep saying end off. This will just be a good game, innit? And I'm hoping for you lot to win against Brighton, honestly.
I appreciate that. I realised I didn't actually give a prediction, and I just kind of gave you a bit of a history lesson. But I think that this will be. Oh, this is the thing, because now if I say it, I think that it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a 2-2. I think Brighton may be a winning, and then Palace get a last-minute equaliser. All I want is a goal of importance, either a goal to tie it or a goal to go ahead in front of that away end, because I can promise you both now, the limbs that you will see will be absolute. I'm getting giddy thinking about throwing myself down 4 fucking flights of seats. I cannot wait. So just the chance that we get a viral clip of limbs, because they will be absolutely incredible. But we could say this and it could be 0-0. So you never know. Who knows?
That's true. I mean, who's that striker you got from Arsenal, Henry? Who was it? It was was it? It's not...
Eddie No Fretia. That's what people are calling him.
Imagine
mate.
if
he is.
Imagine if he gets the last minute winner. Imagine if
But
he gets a
No.
last minute equaliser winner.
I tell you what, that can wait because on Wednesday a week today, in fact, I was meant to be on this show and I completely forgot that I'm at the Emiratis for Palace Arsenal in the Cup. So that's going to be an interesting one. If Nketiah can save his goal scoring
we
for
shall
then,
see.
I'll enjoy that.
It's either that or you've just rinsed 30 million. Either that or Arsenal have rinsed 30 million out of you lot for a dead duck.
I think-
I mean,
I think that's
Yeah,
more likely, to be honest.
exactly.
Well, look, we
Right.
sold him 21. Jesus Christ! I'm shocked we managed to sell him 21. He just
well,
wasn't putting in those numbers at Arsenal, man.
well,
And
no,
we just didn't get a fucking replacement.
he's not a great player. I really don't rate
No,
him
not
compared
at
to like
all.
Nelson, Smith Rowe, people like that.
We are.
But
we are putting
let's
him out of
jump to
position, in
the
fairness
man.
to him, but yeah.
Yeah, you're playing him on left, aren't you, instead of through the middle?
Well,
But that's
Patet's too good.
Glasner's style for you.
Thanks for taking him off us. Appreciate it.
Oh,
I'm
right.
glad to say you spent the money on your bloody set piece coach's wages.
Oh, don't. Right, let's jump to the Manchester derby, boys. Obviously, this is two teams in about as bad a form as you can get, isn't it? To be honest, I mean, I'm probably going to say that it's got to be a City win and all that, but you know that probably the style that United play, they'll probably shut up shop and maybe Haaland may just get a little bit out of it, but that's about it.
It's going to be the most miserable Manchester derby I think we've seen in recent years, honestly.
Because I remember the game, this exact fixture, as in it was at the Etihad as well, and I couldn't remember which year it was, but I've just found it. The 6-3 in the league when it was City and it was Haaland and Foden that both got hat tricks. I think this could be an absolute corker. I don't know why. There's just something that tells me City aren't doing very well and their players are pretty low on confidence. In fact, they're losing against Juventus at the moment in the Champions League. Obviously, got a poor result against us at the weekend, and then you've got United who are just chaos at the moment. I think this could be an absolute cracker.
I heard City didn't do very well in training either recently. I heard City lost to its academy players in a training match recently as well. So
what? Oh my god!
Allegedly, they played 5 games, and I think Man City's main squad won 1, if I heard correctly. So
wow,
something's clearly happened between the changing rooms. I mean, Martinez not being there is shocking as is. He was kind of booted for a few weeks. Don't know why. So clearly something's happened behind the scenes that we're just not aware of. I mean, Pep Guardiola tried to bloody smack a guy on the street for talking smack about him. He looked so. Go on.
That video was from after the FA Cup final, and I think that is important to stress. I mean, it's still funny that it happened, but that wasn't recent. However, I do think that I think me and Kallum mentioned this last week, that potentially the players are maybe more knowledgeable about the potential outcome of the 1-1-5 than anyone else is, and maybe that's playing into it a little bit, because it just doesn't really make any sense that this group of players has gone from literally winning everything, and I mean they just win every game, to suddenly, I don't even know how many games this kind of run's been going on. Obviously they broke it with the win against Forest, but I don't think that makes up for their recent form. I don't know. I think I've just got a really good feeling about this game, and hopefully, if Palace can get a win against Brighton, I'll be down the pub in Brighton with my Palace shirt on, watching an absolute cracker between City and United.
Oh no, that we shall see. We shall see. Right, let's jump over to West London. I don't know whether this game is televised or not. I don't know whether Sky. I think Sky may have this one, and TNT have got the other one. But obviously, 7 o'clock.
No, that one's not on telly. It's the Manchester derby's on Sky, and then it's, I think, is it Spurs?
Spurs are on BT or TNT, so I don't know whether Sky will have the Chelsea Brentford one.
No, Chelsea.
I know my Fire Stick will though, so
it's going to be a Fire Stick game, that one.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised that's not been like put on for TV rights, because I think that would be a cracking game. To be fair, I mean, obviously we have to say
Do
that.
they still have to meet the? Do they have to meet the certain games at home for each club still?
Yeah,
Because that
I
might be
think
why it's just it's an easy game to get Southampton on telly.
yeah, it might be that, which is a great shame, because I think the Chelsea being in the form they are and Brentford coming off their win against Newcastle, I think this is going to be a cracking one between Maresca and Frank. So yeah, let's just cover these last. So let's just go a prediction on this one. Harry, what you thinking on this one?
I just hope Tottenham win. And
Well,
as an Arsenal fan, what? Sorry.
We're on Chelsea, Brentford, mate.
Oh, sorry, I'm fucking zoned out. Right, my bad.
Spurs won't be winning that one. I'll have to tell you that for a fact.
Sorry, I completely zoned out. Chelsea Brentford. I mean, considering last game, I want to say Chelsea win, but I don't see it. I see Brentford snatching it. I see Brentford snatching it, and it's weird to think because Chelsea are second in the Premier League at the moment. They have no right to be up there currently. So I think Brentford will knock them down a peg or two. Personally, I don't have a score. I just think generally Brentford will win. I don't think it'll be a draw. Yeah, that's all I'd say on the matter.
Henry, what you thinking?
Chelsea massive win. Cole Palmer hat trick. I think this is going to be one of those games we look back at the end of the season when Chelsea win the league, and we think, yeah, we didn't expect them to do well here, but Palmer just turned it on. And I know Brentford are doing well, but I just think Chelsea are a different level. And you say, Harry, that they shouldn't be where they are in the league, but you have to give them credit because they are.
No, I do give them credit, but they have no right to be up there at the moment.
But why? But why not? Who has more right? City have been crap. Arsenal rely on.
Yeah, but if you give Cole Palmer to anyone else, Chelsea would be bottom of their fucking out of their minds at the moment.
Madueke has been unbelievable this year. Enzo Fernandez has been superb. Caicedo's been brilliant. Cucurella has been solid, other than when he, was wearing flip-flops at the weekend for the first 15 minutes. I think.
What about Mudryk? What about Mudryk? He's still wank, ain't he? He's still wank.
Mudryk will never be a good player, and that's fine. We can just move on from Mudryk now. But I think Chelsea are. I think out of all four teams at the top of the table at the moment, I think Chelsea have the best chance of stopping Liverpool winning the Premier League. I think Chelsea win this game 4-0.
With how they are now, yes, I agree with that.
And I don't like Chelsea, but I'm just real. And in that sense, I think that Chelsea win this comfortably.
You guys love a Chelsea hand me down.
Exactly, we love it. Mark Gay, could go on for a while. I think though, Kallum, you should give the prediction for this one first. Southampton Spurs.
Fuck it.
Go on, mate. What have you got?
I think I'm gonna have to go. I have faith because Southampton are just absolutely shocking. So I mean, I've got to have some hope. But I hate a 7:00 kickoff on Sunday. I think that's crap. I mean, to be fair, I'm not even in the country for it. I'm in Vienna at the weekend, so I'm gonna have to try and find some sports bar somewhere and try and find it and all that.
It's
so I'm gonna go.
It's getting down there as well, man. That's rough. I mean, what time are you getting home back to London?
I know.
Jesus, if you're going. Not a good one.
Yeah, I was going to say, even my mate who's a Saints fan, if he's going down to see it from North Essex, he'll probably be leaving at, say, 3:00 in the afternoon to get there for 7, probably not getting back till 1, 2-ish the following morning. Something like that.
That is rough.
And then you've got work the following morning and all that.
Yeah, that is just bizarre. I mean, you wonder why they're just not 7:00 on the Saturday. But I guess this team's playing in Europe, isn't it?
No, exactly.
Thursday nights.
Oh, exactly, mate. That's the thing, because we're playing Rangers tomorrow, aren't we? But no, I'm going to go. I'd got to say 3-1 Spurs. I know we'll concede. I don't see us getting a clean sheet, but I think 3-1's quite fair. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think
no, I agree.
One of those games. I think this is one of those games you'll like. So I will. I mean, if any Southampton fans watch this consistently, they must really dislike me. But I just think Southampton are crap. And
no, I completely agree. They've been fucking horrible, haven't they?
This is just one of those where
Yeah.
if, like I said again, if Palace get a win, come 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, when I'm absolutely bladdered out of my mind, I'm going to turn on my phone and I'm going to see that Spurs have won 3-1, and I'm going to be like, yeah. Anyway, because it's so predictable.
It's either that or if we lose, you're going to text me and just go, wait.
Yeah, you'll be getting
take the piss out of me on that
If
one.
Palace have won, you'll be getting voice notes. Don't you worry.
Oh, don't, mate. Don't. Right, let's just cover the last game. I'll just go predictions on this one. 8 o'clock Monday night, another horrible one down at Bournemouth for West Ham on that one. So I'm going to go 2-1 Bournemouth on this one. Harry, what you going on that one, mate?
2-2. I think West Ham have lost. Like, ever since they lost Declan Rice, I feel like West Ham kind of lost their identity in a weird way. I just feel like West Ham weren't the club they were when they had Declan Rice that we thankfully managed to grab from. And you know, with what's his name's, I can't fucking think at the moment. Sorry. With like they'll get the motivation from, is it Antonio who had the car crash? Yeah. With that, I'm sure they'll have like the motivation to try and win, but I think Bournemouth will set up shop and get a 2-2 draw, I reckon. Personally.
No, that's fair. And Henry, what are you thinking on this one, mate?
3-2 Bournemouth. I think that'll be a good game. I think that it's going to be one of those games though where it's like a 3-2, but maybe Bournemouth are 3-0 up or 3-1 up at some point, and then full crew comes on and scores late like he did the other week. I just think I think this is a Bournemouth win at home all over for me. Yeah, I don't. That's kind of all I've got to say on this game. Two teams I don't particularly care about.
Fair. No, I fully appreciate that, mate. I fully appreciate that. Right, let's call it a night there, gentlemen. Obviously, thank you very much to Sophie and Damon who were on earlier. Was a pleasure having Damon on with us and Sophie as a returning guest. Obviously, Harry, thank you for tonight, mate. I know first time on here
Thank you
with
for having
us.
me.
Thanks for putting up with me and Henry all the way through. It would have been even better
been
if
a
we had
pleasure.
Jay
It's been
on
a
it
pleasure.
with us as well. But no, thanks very much for that, mate. And where can everyone find you?
I don't really have a YouTube, unlike most people here. I just kind of have a Twitter. You can find me at Harry's Opinions on Twitter. I think it's down here somewhere. I just kind of post about random shit takes I have, and I sometimes tweet about my fantasy league in the shitter. So hopefully with the new chip, I get more points. But until then, I'm going to keep crying on Twitter. Thank you for having me.
Lovely. No worries, mate. Thanks very much. And Henry, obviously, thanks for being on again and putting up with me, mate. So where can everyone find you?
Oh, you don't need to thank me. I always enjoy talking to you, Kallum. Even if I might get the odd little jab in about Spurs. And Harry, nice to chat to you as well, mate. Yeah, you
Nice
can find me
talking
on
to you.
Twitter still at Henry Swain Jern. Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed this week. Definitely, it's been an interesting one. I feel like we've had loads to cover. I feel like the last round of Premier League games gave us a lot to talk about as a stupid amount of goals that we saw. So yeah, always fun to chat. Thanks, obviously, to Harry as well, who is not here, but thanks for getting me on once again. And yeah, I hope everybody has a good evening and a good weekend, and I hope your teams all lose, other than Palace.
No, that really works for me, mate. I was waiting for my dig to get you in on that. You did say about some boring football games that do put you to sleep. I mean, listening to you half the time as well with your long old chats does make me want to fall asleep while we're live. But I mean, I thought I'd keep that to the end for you. But have you got any articles coming out at the moment, mate, or is it all still working through it at the moment?
Yeah, we've got a few coming out. We've got I'm going to talk really fast so that you don't fall asleep. But we've got it's more for the Palace fans. We've got an article coming out about the under-18s. Obviously, we've got a new crop of talent that have stepped up and who the players are to watch on that. And I am kind of starting to look at maybe branching out into looking at the academies of the other Premier League teams and how the Premier League 2 is maybe a weekly roundup of Premier League 2 and the fixtures. I think that could be quite interesting. So yeah, maybe just keep an eye on my Twitter and you will see what happens.
Well, on that note, obviously, if you do need anything on Spurs Academy, I do work alongside them. So, I mean, I can help you out with the under 18s or the PL2 if you need to, because we have been shit
Sounds-
this year compared to last year because we got rid of most of our crop of good players or they're out on
Yeah, you were
loan.
brilliant last
So,
year, weren't you? Yeah.
well, yeah, we won it, didn't we? We got relegated the
Yeah,
year
you
before.
won
Then they
everything.
changed the format. We then stayed and won it last year, and I think we're like mid-table in it this year, something like that. We've had some freak
Yeah.
or really bad results, to be fair. But no, obviously, thank you very much for tonight, gentlemen. If anyone
Thank you.
does want to bother finding me on Twitter, it is at Kallum Stubbs 97. You can see me on Part Lane Podcast, usually on 7 o'clock on Sunday. I think we will be cancelling this week because the game is on at that point, and I am out of the country, so I have no intention of podcasting. I plan on just getting drunk or walking around somewhere in Vienna on that one. But no, obviously, thanks very much to everyone on tonight, and thanks very much to H usual. Like and subscribe to the channel, and obviously go and check him out at 7. I think it's 7:30 on Monday night. He'll be doing the post-match reaction to the Spurs Southampton game. Hopefully, it is a win. But obviously, thanks very much, gentlemen, and good evening and good night, everyone.
Good night.